the fourth of CSS Advanced series. Welcome all. Please join fast. Today is the day fourth, and we will be covering CSS Grid. A warm welcome and good afternoon to all of you. So, as you all know, today is the day fourth, and tomorrow will be the last day. We will be completing with CSS Grid, and in case some time will be available, we will be doing a little bit of project also. And you all will be giving a participation certificate in case you fill the attendance form, which will be shared in some time in the live YouTube chat. So please join fast. So let's start now. Today is the day fourth of grid, and now we'll be starting with the grid of with the basics of grid. Later on, we will move from basics to advanced in the same file. So as you all can see, I have already created a folder with the name CSS Grid, and have dragged it in the VS Code. And later on, we'll do one thing. Let's create 1 second. So I hope it is visible in mobile view also. So let's create index.html style.css. Fine. So in index.html, let's create a basic HTML file first. Okay, 1 second. Let me open this with live server. Here's the live server. Today, we will be doing our live server in Firefox Mozilla Edition. There is a specific reason why we are doing here. We'll tell you in some time. So I'm ready to start with the grid now. Please make yourself comfortable and let's start now. So as you all can see, we have created the basic layout of HTML, and we are already been live with in Firefox Mozilla Edition. So what is grid? CSS, two things have been introduced in CSS in 2015, which is the Flexbox and the grid. Flexbox we have already completed yesterday, and today we will be completing the CSS grid. So CSS grid and Flexbox both will help you to get out from the bootstrap. This That is why this has been introduced, so that you can avoid bootstrap and use CSS perfectly. So it is an awesome system which can be used to develop the whole website. We will tell you how you can use grid. So generally a combination of Flexbox and grid can be used in all the projects to create a website. CSS Grid can divide the whole page into columns and rows easily, and there are many ways you can place the elements. The Flexbox has the limitation that it works only on row level, but CSS Grid has the advantage that it works on both row level and column level. We will actually I will show you how to use it directly with the help of examples. No theory. We will be going through live practical examples to understand the concepts. So moving on to the next topic in the CSS grid, let's create some div here. For this, I have already created some divs in order to save the time. One second. So as you all can see, as a div is a row level element. So they have put the sequence one below the another. So as you all can see, we have already created a class named container, and let's do some basic styling in order to get the things look more good. One second. So now it's a basic styling what we have done. As you all can see, as we are into grid, so we have given display as grid. Earlier we used to give display as flex in the last class. So justify content is center. As you all can see, that all the content lies in the center. Align item is also in the center. Border 5px solid. Border radius is 3px. Font size 35px. Background color is from variable what we have declared earlier. See. So now, what is grid? How you can add the functionalities in the grid? So grid, as I told you, grid works on column level and row level both. So for this, let's add this. Let's add some functionality to the container. 200px, and so as you all can see, two columns have been created with with the size as 200px and 500px. So let's do the inspect now, and in this, so what does this mean? Why I choose Mozilla? This is the reason. As you all can see, you can easily identify each and every column here. This will not be shown in Safari or in Chrome or in Internet Explorer or not in Edge. This is the reason why developers use grid, Why developers use Mozilla while creating websites in Grid? So, as you all can see, we have created two columns. So you can see the column number one, column number two, row number one, row number two. But we have not created any row. So by default, they have created the row by themselves. So let's create a row GTR. GTR is the shortcut for grid template rows. You need to give space. So as you all can see, we have created a structure of two column and three rows. So two column and three rows are there. But the problem is that we have the content here which exceeds the capacity what we have created. So what does this grid have created? Let me tell you one thing very clearly. Grid is very responsive. So they have created themselves the last two rows. How? Depending upon the size of the content, they have created the rows. This is the main reason why grid I preferred. So now, why why this thing? Why these two? The last two rows have the size depends upon the size of the content. So let us come to a different functionality. See, grid gap. Grid gap is a functionality where you can create gaps between the grids. See, this will help you to look your page more beautiful and more soothing. So they have created a gaps of 5 px, 10 px. What will be the figure between the rows and the columns? I hope you will be getting this, and I am going very slow so that you all will be able to capture this. So now moving on to the next topic in the grid. As you all can see, we have already in the Firefox Developer Edition, which will help you. So now let me do one thing. As you all can see, dots and dashes here. Why dots and why dashes? Because in Zoom only you can see the dots and the dash. These dots are used to these dots and dashes are basically called as implicit and explicit. Why? Because these are known as tracks, implicit tracks and explicit tracks. But explicit tracks have been identified by dash, and implicit tracks has been identified by dots. As you all will be able to see only while zooming the page. That's why I have zoomed it so much so that this will be clear to all. The explicit tracks are marked as dashed and are called explicit as they are created because we declared them while using the command of grid template column and grid template rows. as we have defined them, that how many rows and how many columns needs to be created, these lines are produced or generated. So now, implicit tracks are marked or identified by dots, and they are created by the grid system. We only have three rows, as we have defined three rows. Okay, because of these three rows, the last two rows are implicit and we didn't define them. So the implicit tracks by default takes the height of the element inside it. As in this case, it takes the digit 7, 8, 9, and 10 height. So in case if we want to change the height of these 7, 8, 9, and 10, there is a property known as grid auto row, which is the size of all the implicit rows. So let us do one thing. Grid auto rows, let's have size of 150 px. So as you all can see, these things 7, 8, 9, 10 are also in alignment to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In case anyone have any doubt, they can ping in the live YouTube chat. And also let me tell you one thing, attendance sheet will be shared only here in the live YouTube chat, none other than else. So we are in implicit and explicit tracks. Now as you all can see, we have given grid auto rows, and what does this do? They have created the size as 150 px of 7, 8, 9, and 10 digits. So moving on to the next property, which is grid auto flow. What is grid auto flow? By default, any implicit track is created in the next row only. If you create any div, it will go down in the next row. But we can change it with the help of grid auto flow property. We will show you how to use this. Let's do we'll do one thing. Let's have only two items here. Save it. As you all can see, we have only two items. So now, if we want to add item 3, grid template column rows is not required here. So very good. So in case if we want grid gap of 10 px, perfect. So in case if we create item number 3, by default it goes to the row level. So but if we want them to move, one second, let me change it. By default I have as you all can see, I have activated the item number 3. As soon as I will save it, by default, by nature, it will go in the row level. So but if I want this 3 to be there in the by the side of item number 2, there is a property where grid auto flow comes into picture. So as soon as we will give the command as grid auto flow, as column, they will create the next available item in the column layout. I hope this is very clear. These are very simple things but are confusing. So make yourself comfortable in order to get the things go deep into your mind. So this is the property of grid auto flow, where you can create or where you can put any new item in a column level. So now moving on to the next topic in the grid, where we can actually, one second, where we can actually size the tracks in CSS Grid. So let's do some basic HTML design. This is not required. So as you all can see, now this inspect button is not required, so I am removing it. Later on we'll tell you how to use it. So as you all can see, we have 15 items with us, and we have given a basic property of CSS as display grid with the grid gap of 10 px, or let's assume let's have 20 px. Now it's looking more better. So we will use, there is a different property also. In order to show you grid template column, you can give in percentage also. So in percentage also you can define the size of the columns. As you all can see that we have given 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. 4 rows we have given, but there is a problem. As you all can see, the item number 4, 8, and 12 have stick to the right. Uh, why? There is a reason, because we have already given a grid gap of 20% and we have divided the screen in 25%. So by default, what has happened? 25% into 4 is 100%, plus 20%, that is overall the size is 120%, because we have added grid gap of 20 px also. That is the reason why the last row have touched the right of the screen. So for this, in order to adjust this properly, a new unit has been introduced which is called as FR. FR is basically the free space left after the explicit width. Explicit means the dash width which are laid out. To understand this, let's have the basic CSS. We are also using a border to get the space taken by the grid. We have two explicit width column of 200 and 150 px respectively. So let's create two column of 200 px and save it. So by default, two columns have been created of 200 px and 150 px. Let's create a border also of 5 px, solid, and we'll have the color as gold. So as you all can see, we have created a border. Get gap is there, display grid is there, get template column is also we have created. So now we will add a column of one FR with the space left after 2. So what does this show? So what they have did, they have actually taken the complete space left over after 2 within themselves. So now in case if we create another column, they have divided themselves the leftover space into 2. So let's change it to 2FR, and what they did, the leftover space, twice of the leftover space has been taken up by the third column, and the leftover space after number third has been taken up by the next column. I hope this is clear now. So moving on to the additional functionality, we'll use auto 1FR 2FR. See, first one, the size of the content, based on the available size of the content, they have taken up the space of column number 1, and the column number 2 have taken the space of 1FR, and the column number 3 have taken the space of twice of the 2FR. So this is the function as automatically they have adjusted using 1FR and 2FR. So let's add some larger content to item number 4. Save it. As you all can see, automatic they have adjusted themselves based on the content available, the size of the content available. This is the functionality of auto. Based on the size, they have automatically adjust themselves, and the leftover space has been used as what we have given as 1FR and 2FR. So there is one more concept called as repeat. The repeat function takes two parameters. Same time the same function will be repeated again and again. So let's use it. Auto repeat two times 1FR So see what we have given. We have given grid template column auto repeat two times of 1FR and then 2FR. So auto two times of 1FR and then 2FR. So it basically repeats one fr two times. All also we can write one fr and two fr. The shortcut is repeat two times of one fr. So we can use one more thing here in case two fr. In case if we want to repeat two times of one fr two fr, it can also happen. As you all can see, one fr two fr one fr two fr. It's a repeat function. It automatically repeats the size what we have given. So let me change it. So moving on to the next topic, let's go into the sizing of grid items. As in Flexbox, we have to select an individual item and add the property. Here, let us see how we will be doing this. For this, let's do one thing. What we did, control S. We have added actually 30 items in order to understand this concept. So what we will be doing, we will be actually let one second. We'll have repeat five times of one FR. Five columns of one FR each. Perfect. And now let's do one thing. Let's target item number 9. So as you all can see, we have increased the width of item number 9 to 500 px and also the color. So in order to identify the thing, we have done this. So now instead of defining the width or having some content to increase the width, we have a property in grid called as span. We can ask span to span the desired item or desired number of column. Let's use it. We'll have grid column as span 2. So what does this happen? So as you all can see, what this command do, they have actually utilizes 2 fr of the available space without disturbing the next item and moving the next item or moving the last item to the last. This is the function of span. Without disturbing the next item, they have utilizes the space, or I can say, one second. See, here actually the content we have target the content the item number 9, but what has happened, the entire column has been targeted. So in order to stop this, we have a property called as span, where only the content has been targeted without disturbing the rest of the items. So moving on to the next property, here we have a separate property also for grid row. But it is not coming. So in the row level also you can use this property. In column level and row level both you can use this property. As you all can see, the column level also and row level also, they have taken up the space without disturbing the entire row, without disturbing the entire row and the entire column. That is why the grid function has been used a lot. Now let's have a another property called as placing grid. So if we want to place the grid exactly where we want, there's a property called grid placing. So let's choose item number 16. Perfect. So let's highlight it. So what we did, we have actually asked item number 16 to start from 2 and end to column number 6. So let us do the inspect now. So as you all can see, it starts from 2 and end at 6. That is why grid is so responsive. So as you all can see, grid column starts with 2 and ends with 6. So now let us close this, and we will use the shortcut. As how to use it, we'll have grid column 2 public 6, and let's make it inactive, save it, or let's do one thing, we'll have 1 kill 6, so it will cover the entire box. So that is the reason developers left shortcuts using this. So what does this do? It starts from 1 and end till 6. The result will be the same. Using the 2-line code, only the 1 line will work. Also, as you have noticed or not, let me go through once again to the inspect portion. One second. As you have noticed or not, let me show you. As you all can see, this minus 1 here, this is minus 1, this is minus 2, this is minus 3, like that. So you can actually merge the cells using the minus terminologies also. So in case if I give as from minus 2 to 6, see the result. Minus 2 is this, as I have told you, and 6 is this. So we can use this for grid row also. We'll have grid row two, sorry, 1/5. See what does this, what it does. So if we give as minus 1, see, or we will do as minus 3. So I hope you all will be able to understand the things clearly. In case anyone have any doubt, I will wait for some time to understand the doubt session. I'm trying to use, or I'm trying to take the things in a very light way so that you all will be able to capture the things properly. So I will be sharing the attendance form. Please fill, and it will be shared in the live YouTube chat only. So tomorrow we will be completing the CSS grid, and in case some time is left, we will be taking up the projects of CSS Flexbox and Grid. So the system have shared the attendance form. You all are requested to please fill it online here only, so that you will be eligible for the participation certificate. Thank you.